Good evening. Let me first start, appreciate all of you being here. Let me give you some good news. Our officer that was shot this evening is spirited, in good condition. He was shot during his job, but it appears that he's going to be okay. So we're waiting. The suspect, on the other hand, in this incident is in very critical condition. He was struck 5 times. So a brief scenario, officers from the 8th Precinct, from our Special Operations section, were investigating a vehicle that was going the wrong way in an alley. During that investigation, the officers got out, and once they did that, the suspect went in reverse and pinned 2 of the 3 officers in between the cars, so they're injured as well. Not critical, they're being treated as we speak. The suspect exited the vehicle, armed with a handgun, fired a number of shots in the direction of the officer, striking the one officer, and he began to run. Officers responded to the threat. The suspect was hit 5 times, so he's in very critical condition. At this point, we are moving forward with our investigation, so I can't give you much more than that. But I can tell you all officers seems to be in a stable condition, and we're hoping for the best. And I had a conversation with the officer who was shot. He's got 3 years on the job, working the 8th Precinct, solid officer, great spirits, and so we're hoping for the best.
Only one officer was shot, the other was hit by a vehicle?
One officer was shot, 2 additional officers were, when they were tried to pin the officer between the police car and the suspect's vehicle, and so they sustained some injury.
Chief,
not sure if there was any bones broken, fractures, bruises, but they're being treated now.
Chief, did you recover the weapon?
We did recover the weapon.
We're thankful your officer is going to be okay.
It appears that way. We're optimistic. Again, I had a conversation with the officer who was shot. Very optimistic. He just wants to go back to work and continue to serve our community.
Do we know where he was shot? Do we know where the officer was shot?
In his midsection.
It seems to be multiple scenes. There's that's spread out. You guys had several areas of blocked off. Where did this actually start? I know you said an alley. Where did it start?
Well, it happened at Florence and Greenfield. That's the location that I'm got. It happened around 10:38, 10:42 this evening when the officers initiated their investigation.
Is that at an apartment complex?
An alleyway.
And then I guess the suspect.
Now the suspect doesn't require criminal history, and so we're not certain if that was the motive for him trying to evade the officer's contact. Not certain, but he did have a prior criminal history, not extensive, but such that he decided to try to use deadly to shoot an officer. So he's in custody and he's being treated.
Chief, did this officer flee at all, or was he immediately taken into custody or unable to leave given his injuries?
In fact, he did attempt to leave the location. In fact, what I'm told, as he evaded the officer's attempt to secure him, he went in and broke into a residence, and he was arrested at that point. The officers followed a blood trail, the suspect blood trail, and they were able to identify and find him and arrest him.
How do you feel, Chief? Your officer was just simply doing their job at this time, and their life was placed in jeopardy.
Well, this is always, when I think about our heroes, the ones who run to danger and not run away from danger, here we are, this is Police Week. We talk about our fallen officers. I talk about our officers. We're still here. We're still walking among us who are, in fact, heroes. And these officers certainly were heroic. This officer, positive attitude, is ready to get back out and continue to keep our city safe.
And you say you followed the suspect to a residence. Was there a brief barricaded situation?
We did call our SRT out, but it was resolved very quickly.
Was this a random residence that he broke into?
When you say random, I'm not sure what you mean.
But was it his?
It wasn't his. No, it wasn't
Okay.
his residence.
Okay.
He just wanted to find a place where he could hide, more than likely.
And Chief, again, you said 2 officers were injured because they were pinned.
Because initially, when they were initiating the stop, the suspects backed the vehicle up, pinning 2 of the officers between the police car and the suspect's vehicle. And doing that, they got injured.
And what was that initial stop for?
Well, they were driving the wrong way down an alley at a high-rate speed, so they went to investigate. That's what we do. We investigate suspicious activity, and as it turned out, we're not certain if there was any other criminality involved prior to the officer's contact, but the suspect initially, based on that response, began firing on the officers.
Chief, is there anything to the rumor that your officers actually drove themselves to the hospital?
I'm not aware of that. I don't know if anyone on my team can tell you that.
Yes, the officer that was struck, that was shot, was not one officer that was pinned down. Officer Bush drove him to the hospital.
And this is the commanding officer of the 8th Precinct where the officers assigned. This is Commander Jacqueline Pritchett, and they work in her command.
Can you comment at all on how your team is doing tonight, given that one of their own has been injured?
I think we're blessed that it could have been worse. Everyone's happy that the officers, that they're going to be okay. They're sad that the officers were injured, of course, but they're happy at the outcome. And they're going to go out each and every day and still do their jobs. And like the officer, like she said earlier, Officer Rodriguez can't wait to get back on the street and work.
It's truly amazing having spent time in Washington, D.C. last week and talking about our heroes. I oftentimes think about officers like the officer tonight that ran toward the danger. This is not uncommon for Detroit police officers. They go to the danger, keep our community safe. And as the commander indicated, we're very blessed and fortunate that the injuries are not more serious.
Chief, are you releasing the name of the officer right now?
I am not.
Chief,
Okay.
can you confirm that there were no civilians who were injured?
Except for the suspect.
Right.
The suspect was shot. He's in critical condition. He fired on our officers. And because they were faced with an imminent threat to their life, they fired and he was struck.
No civilians in the area.
Not that I'm aware of at this point. We're still very actively investigating this case.
Releasing the suspect's thing?
Not at this point. The suspect has not been charged. He's being treated for his injuries.
You still have the streets blocked off over there where the initial incident took
We're
place.
still doing an investigation, so that area is still secure.
Was the officer that was hit, was he hit in the vest?
He was struck.
He was struck in the
He
vest?
sustained a bullet wound to his body.
Okay.
Okay.
Was he wearing a bulletproof
Right.
All
vest?
of our
Was he wearing a
officers do
vest?
wear vests, yes.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks.